Welcome to Betrayal Stories. In today's video, we're diving into a story about love, pain, and the power of forgiveness. A story that reminds us that sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who can hurt us the deepest, and yet they're also the ones who can heal us. My name is Elise, and I'm 44 years old. I never thought I'd be the type of person to share my life online, but sometimes life pushes you toward unexpected places. And this story, mine, is one I've carried for years in silence. Maybe by sharing it, I can help someone else understand that even in the deepest pain, there can be light. The beginning. A life built for two. For as long as I can remember, it's just been me and my son, Lenny. I raised him on my own after his father walked out when Lenny was barely 3 years old. I still remember that day, standing in the doorway, holding my little boy as he clung to my neck, asking, "Mom, where's Dad going?" I didn't have the heart to answer then. We survived, though. Somehow, through every late-night job, every missed meal, every bill that came too soon, we made it work. Lenny became my reason to keep going, my heartbeat in human form. And for years, it felt like it was us against the world. He was a bright, kind, funny boy. The kind that could make you laugh even when you didn't want to. But as time went on, that light in his eyes began to dim, and I didn't understand why. The change I didn't see coming. When Lenny turned 22, things started shifting. He was working part-time and finishing his degree, barely sleeping, always busy. But it wasn't just exhaustion that I noticed. It was something deeper. He stopped talking to me. No more long kitchen talks, no more laughter echoing through the house. Just short replies and silence. The kind of silence that keeps you up at night. One evening, I heard him come home later than usual. It was freezing outside, the kind of cold that seeps through the windows no matter how high you turn the heat. I was sitting on the couch when he walked in, pale, tired, eyes hollow. "You okay, sweetheart?" I asked. He nodded, but his voice was barely above a whisper. "Yeah, just tired." Something about the way he said it didn't sit right with me. "Go lie down," I told him. "You need to rest." At first he resisted, but I could see how drained he was. I guided him to his room, covered him with a thick blanket, and for the first time in a long time, I sat beside him while he tried to sleep. The house was quiet, almost too quiet. I could hear his breathing, slow, heavy, almost labored. My heart ached. I thought about all the nights I'd worked overtime, all the birthdays I'd missed tucking him in, all the sacrifices I'd made thinking I was doing it for his future. But what if in doing so I'd failed him emotionally? I'm the storm behind his eyes. The next morning I made breakfast like I always did, eggs, toast, and coffee. He sat at the table but barely touched it. "Lenny," I said softly, "is something wrong?" He looked up, his expression unreadable. "No, Mom, I'm fine." I knew he wasn't. The way he avoided my eyes, the tension in his shoulders. It was all there. "Lenny," I pressed gently. "Talk to me, please." He put his fork down and sighed. "You wouldn't understand." My heart sank. "You wouldn't understand." Those words hurt more than he probably realized. I had been his whole world once, and now I felt like a stranger. "Try me," I whispered. He hesitated, then got up from the table. "I can't right now." And just like that, he left for work. I stood there for a long time, staring at the half-eaten food, feeling like I'd lost him to something invisible, something I didn't know how to fight. A neighbor, and a reminder of the past. That afternoon, there was a knock at the door. It was Mark, our neighbor. He was kind, always offering to help with repairs or groceries. "A good man, Elise," he said with a friendly smile. "Just checking in. You've been quiet lately." I forced a smile back. "Just busy, Mark." But he saw through it. "You okay?" I hesitated. "Honestly, I don't know," he nodded thoughtfully. "Sometimes people carry things they don't talk about. You can't always fix it, but you can be there when they're ready." His words stayed with me long after he left. Maybe that was all I could do for Lenny. be there, even when he didn't want me to be. The breaking point a week later, Lenny came home late again. His face looked different, pale, tense, and distant. He barely looked at me as he walked past. "Lenny," I called after him. "Please talk to me." He stopped, his back to me. "There's nothing to talk about." "Yes, there is," I said, stepping closer. "You've been shutting me out for weeks. I'm your mother. I know something's wrong." He turned sharply, his voice breaking. "You want to know what's wrong? Fine. I'm tired, Mom. I'm tired of pretending everything's okay." I froze. "Pretending?" He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "You always act like everything's fine, like we're this perfect team. But you don't know half of what I've been going through. Then tell me," I pleaded. "I want to understand." He took a deep breath, eyes filled with anger and pain. "You remember Dad?" That name hit me like a punch to the chest. "Yes." "Well, I found him." I blinked, stunned. "You what?" "I found him, Mom, months ago. He reached out to me on social media." My stomach dropped. He said he wanted to meet. Said he'd changed. Lenny's voice cracked. And I believed him. I went to see him, and he asked me for money. Said he'd pay me back once his business deal went through. He laughed bitterly. He vanished a week later. Blocked me. Took everything I had saved. The weight of betrayal, I stood there, speechless. Every part of me trembled. Not just from shock, but from guilt. "Why didn't you tell me?" I whispered. "Because I didn't want to see that look on your face," he said, tears forming in his eyes. "The same look you had when he left us. I thought maybe if I helped him, he'd finally care. I thought I could fix what he broke for you." That's when I realized he hadn't just lost money, he'd lost hope. I stepped forward, but he stepped back, voice breaking. "I wasn't strong enough, Mom. I thought I could handle it, but it hurts. It hurts so much. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore." "Oh, Lenny," I whispered, pulling him into my arms. At first, he resisted. Then slowly, he broke down, sobbing against my shoulder. Years of silence, pain, and unspoken words poured out in that one moment. The healing that followed that night, we stayed up for hours, talking, crying, healing. I told him things I had never said, about the nights I almost gave up. The days I blamed myself for his father's choices. The endless guilt that lived in my heart. And for the first time, he listened, really listened. He told me about the pressure he'd been under, the feeling of carrying my pain and his own, the fear of disappointing me. We realized something that night, that love isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about facing the pain together, even when it's ugly. The morning after. The next morning, Lenny made breakfast. For the first time in months, we laughed again. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. He looked up at me and said, "Mom, thank you for not giving up on me." I smiled through tears. "Never. You're my son." "That's not something I could ever stop doing," he nodded. His eyes soft, the tension finally gone. That day, I realized that forgiveness doesn't always start with words. Sometimes, it begins with understanding. A message to you if you're watching this and you're carrying guilt, pain, or secrets between you and someone you love. Please, talk. Don't let silence destroy what could still be saved. Sometimes betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the people closest to us, but healing can come from them too, if we choose to face it, forgive, and rebuild. Because love isn't about being perfect. It's about staying even when it hurts,